Let's talk about the ministerial list now. Joining me is political analyst Dan Akinlami. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us at this time.
Good to be here.
What struck you most about the session yesterday at the Senate with the first batch of nominees?
Well, I think the first takeaway still remains the fact that we have not made much progress having portfolios attached to the nominees. Quite a number of people have been calling for this in the past 8 years, especially the 2015 ministerial screening. It should be nice to know what portfolio you are being screened for. And in the 21st century leadership, we shouldn't still be having nominees going before National Assembly answering general questions. We should know exactly what assignment will be given to individuals that are coming. Look at what is obtainable in the other countries. You know, Britain yesterday, the new prime minister announced his key major cabinet immediately as soon as he became the prime minister.
We even saw some drama before what happened yesterday, or before this debate on portfolios or not. The 8th Assembly had, tried to make constitutional amendment
make a legislation, yes,
to mandate
exactly.
the presidency to attach portfolios. But then we saw the 9th Assembly not, buying that idea that the Constitution didn't, stipulate that the president had to do that. Where does that leave us now as we enter another day?
At this time of age, Nigeria should be ahead in terms of leadership, and we need to be more proactive.
All right, and then the take a bow tradition, Senator Sabi had said that wouldn't occur, but then we saw them holding on to the tradition of allowing lawmakers turned ministers to take a bow after their description.
Well, there might be nothing much to really disagree with in terms of that. It's the rule, it's the tradition of the Senate to allow former lawmakers to take a bow. Which actually means that they can vow for their integrity and their personality. So,
can Nigerians also do the same?
But beyond that, I think some of the individuals that are being nominated that were former lawmakers, people that are known for their capabilities. Okay, but I think maybe perhaps in the future, the Senate should also provide an avenue for some of those people to answer questions.
All right,
even if they will eventually take a bow.
Absolutely. Dan Akinlami, thank you so much.
Dan Akinlami, it's nice to have you join me right now.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right, you have been following, in fact, all Nigerians have been following the screening process generally. What is striking for you in the process?
Well, I think it's good that finally we have the list and the process has started. But there's something that's quite instructive in the nomination this time around. The percentage of the women nominated into this cabinet. In 2015, though the cabinet was lesser, we had 6 women, which was close to 20%. But this time around, what we have with those 7 women is 16% of the cabinet. And we still have a lot to do. For Nigeria to come close to the affirmative action on women participation in politics, what the policy was projecting before now is 35% for women. So we are still far behind. So we still need to do more to get more women to participate in governance and leadership.
All right, it's quite instructive and quite interesting when you talk about the involvement of women, because that is what everyone has been trying to do. But on the platform of merit, should the concept of gender be considered, or the concept of age generally? Because these are some of the issues that form debate.
Well, I think the debate has actually gone beyond that.
Okay.
The debate now is not even about that we don't have merit about women. We have enough women of substance who are capable to also fill some of these political appointments. Now, the women are not even asking for, say, equal representation or 50%, but the policy stated 35%. And some of these candidates then also even campaigned to have more women represented in the cabinet. We're not even talking about the youth yet. We're even talking about the women now. So we have more to do. There's even this saying that when people turn out on the election, we tend to see more women coming to vote than men.
Of course.
So we shouldn't just restrict them to that backstage role in the nation building. So it's an opportunity for us to spread our hand, bring in more women. If we scout the country.
And get the best that women can
Yes,
also offer.
the best of women.
All right, going ahead now, if you look at, not necessarily talking about the name of which ministerial nominees, but when you look at the agenda, the next agenda of the president, and placing ministers, to drive that agenda, what would be your advice really from that window?
Well, I think going forward for the placements, the president knows the individuals that he has nominated and he has their CV. But I think, as we usually say, we should have the rank pegs in the round hole. So
we had an analyst yesterday say that some round holes have to be made square, you understand, by changing the concept and rejigging the system.
So what is important is that the country cannot wait. We ought to have had this cabinet about 50-something days ago. It's a bit coming late. Now, so we need to get to work. We need competent individuals to man different ministries. For example, power, petroleum, education. We need seasoned people who have what it takes to turn things around. Unfortunately, the nomination does not carry portfolio for now, so we can't really people, but it's the prerogative of the president to look at the capacity of individual and put the right people in the right sector.
All right, Nana Kilami, thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Right.
All right, that's Mustafa Shihuri of Borno State. And to talk about this is political analyst Dan Akinlami. Good morning, Mr. Akinlami. So if we recall to the last set of ministers in 2015, of course, it will be normal to appraise the performance of ministers. Some stuck out as having grossly underperformed. To avoid a recurrence in this one now, do you expect more from the Senate, or is the blame for that one solely that of the Senate?
Well, it can't be about the Senate. Also, we should remember that the president has the constitutional power to nominate them. So whatever happened after they were sworn in as ministers, perhaps has to do with the capacity of those individuals and what they could offer the nation. So that's what also enabled the president to appraise their performance. So we could see that quite a number of them didn't make it back into the list. So for those who even made it, if you look at what, and in the areas where they were, it's going to be very difficult for everybody to agree that the 12 of them who made it back to this list actually performed where they were before. But I think it's a subject of the capacity of the individuals that are nominated. Like this set now that is being screened by the Senate. Many of them may have fantastic CV and credentials. Right. But when they eventually get the job,
practicalizing.
Yeah, so what they bring on board will determine how they will be evaluated.
We even saw some, sound bites from those who were screened yesterday. For Malam Adamu, who was a former education minister, he was also questioned along that lines. He too found alarming the number of out-of-school children. In the young children category alone, more than 10 million. I mean, someone who is going to assume that position next, what for you is critical? How do you tackle this scourge?
Well, I think going forward, we need to be more serious about the screening. Okay, if there are visible signs that a particular minister didn't do well, where he was placed, the portfolio was given before, there shouldn't be any reason for such to be screened successfully to become another minister again. So we need to take some of these processes more serious And we also need to raise the bar as far as the standard is concerned.
So how will today pan out? We've seen Sunday Diary and so many others. What are your expectations today? Former governor of Ekiti State is also built to come. Do you think it will be random, predictable like yesterday's?
Oh, most likely, because you'll see that some of them, the former lawmakers, will still take a bow. And now that we have former governors, also coming in as ministers. So some of them that are also known, that have their colleagues in the Senate, may perhaps enjoy the same privilege.
And then there's a game of numbers in the House,
but,
in the Senate.
In general, we should have hope for some of the new faces. Okay, they are coming up, like the woman that was screened yesterday, Sharon Ijaso from Anambra State, and a couple of them that have also demonstrated their capability in one
past.
area or the other in the past.
All right.
So they may be able to make a difference.
Dan Akilami, many thanks.
Thank you.